I'm Kier.
I'm Haley.
And I'm Jay from Gallifrey Public Radio,
a podcast member of the Gonna Geek Network.
Just like the one you're listening to right now.
The opinions expressed are those of each individual.
Check out all the other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
And get ready, because geekiness begins in 3,
2,
1.
Stand by for a brand new episode of All Things Good and Nerdy.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 405 of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. This is recorded live on June 7th, 2020, and I have good news for those of you that are watching live or listening at a later date. It's not just me this week. It is not a Chris cast. It is not me trying desperately to fill air and not die live on stream because for some reason I got all choked up. I don't know what that is. No. In fact, this week I am joined by my two other co-hosts. First, we'll start with the one, not really the only, but we'll say in this case, the only, Willie D. Nelson. Oh shit, I forgot that was on.
I mean, it's not wrong. So
For those listening to the podcast, I forgot I left his temporary picture up.
Yeah, it happens. I'm sorry you had to see that.
What, this?
Sure, let's go with that.
It almost overlays perfectly over your head. It works pretty well. For an audio podcast, it doesn't translate over very well. Willie was trying to frame himself behind the photo we have on his overlay. But how are things going, Willie?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot with such serious questions like that, man. I don't think I want to get that deep and existential with you right now, man. That's not the right time, buddy.
Well, then we won't get deep and existential with Willie, but maybe we will with Mr. Anthony Bachman.
Oh, hell no. This is not the right time for that shit.
Right. Or is it?
What?
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 That's the best you had, Chris?
You make Willie's brain hurt.
Right. That's the best you had, Chris. Oh,
what would you prefer instead, Willie? What would you prefer
poor
instead?
Performance primarily perpetrated by you.
Willie, I think you're just stupid.
Well, you can say that all you want.
Thanks, Naki. We appreciate that.
Indeed.
Was that a flyby knocking?
A what now?
You heard what I said. You're a bad person.
I heard what you just said.
That's not bad.
That's not very nice.
Heavy is the finger that presses the goddamn buttons.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've pressed no buttons. Naki joined us for 6 seconds just so she could get in there and give her opinion that she thinks you're just stupid.
And then I just talked without moving my lips. Is that what you're saying?
You're a ventriloquist, damn it. You should be proud of your skills.
First of all, that was a childhood dream to be a ventriloquist. I do not appreciate you making fun of that.
I wasn't making fun of it.
I am still sad and feeling like I'm ashamed of myself because I never learned that trade. And now you're throwing it in my face like that, man. That's unappreciated.
Wait, Willie, each week you get to be a ventriloquist when you're on the show because I see you say things, or rather I hear you say things without moving your lips, and it's a damn impressive skill.
No, that's just called terrible internet.
Well, I mean, it could be that.
Point.
I mean, that's possible too.
That hillbilly dial-up.
I mean, sometimes your voice even echoes, and I don't know how you make your voice echo.
Oh,
compressed audio.
Don't. No.
I'm just saying it happens. If you saw the pre-show, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Okay, thank God. That's where you leave it at. They know the button.
That's called a tease to make people join us for the live show, Willie. Come on now.
Unless you want me to make the Gucci Hannes joke again.
No.
I would say you probably should not hit that button.
We got a question in the chat room. Did Willie just get knocked up?
Hannes?
No, they asked if you got knocked up, Willie. I'm not sure why, but are you pregnant?
No. I mean, I'm gaining some weight. I'm eating for 2, but for myself.
I think you just have a food baby. You're just going to have to drop it off later.
That's just all meatloaf. It's not a baby. It's just all meatloaf.
I love meatloaf. You guys got some meatloaf?
No, but I want some meatloaf.
I got meatloaf in the fridge that I need to make this week, but now I want meatloaf now.
Been too long since I've had meatloaf.
Oh man, I just picked up an order at Kroger on Friday and it had meatloaf in it, and I was super excited. It's the little things in life that I can have meatloaf this week.
Why when you can have tacos instead?
I have tacos I can make this week too. I've got ground beef, I've got tortillas, I've got lettuce, tomato, I've got hot sauce. I can make tacos this week as well, Willie. I'm a man of many talents when it comes to cooking. That's how I got my physique. Well, that and cake.
Always with the cake.
What's wrong with cake?
It's always with the cake.
But you're saying that like there's something bad about cake. Are you disparaging
Yes, there's always
cake?
something wrong with cake.
How is there something wrong about cake? Please
There's
explain
always-
this to me. You're in the hot seat now. You have to explain why cake is a bad thing.
Oh shit! I didn't know there was consequences for my actions and just saying random stuff.
That's right.
Oh wow!
The
let's
freedom
see.
of speech does not free you from consequences of the things that you say.
I'm gonna say cake is overrated because you know what's better?
Pie.
Cookie cake.
No, cookie cake is not better than cake.
It's better,
But it
it's
is damn
better than
good.
Cake.
But I will
It's
say
better
that
than cake.
a fresh pie, like a warm pie, fruit pie, fresh out of the oven, is better than cake. That you can put either whipped cream or vanilla ice cream on top. Yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about. And I really want pie now.
Okay, or just some cookie cake.
Okay, so Will, you've got to rank these: pie, cookie cake, cake, and cobbler. What's your ranking of those four?
You
What
forgot
was
about ice cream cake.
Okay, we'll put ice
Ice
cream
That's
cake.
the best version of cake.
No, it is
ice
not.
cream cake.
No, it's the least
It-
flavorful.
Well, it's above cake. I can tell you that.
Oh,
the ranking.
fuck
It has ice
off.
cream.
Oh, hold on. What's the difference between cobbler and pie?
A cobbler is a fruit based with some type of crust over the top.
There is no crust on the bottom or behind
Yeah,
it.
there's
You
usually
just
no
have-
crust on the bottom. There's usually no like a crust edge.
And
You
it-
can't take like a slice.
Yeah,
like
it's
the way
it's
you
more
do
of a
pie.
spongy cake on top or a spongy crust. It's not like a hard
It's
pie
cop-
crust kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think the only cobbler I've ever known to eat, or that I can remember, is that ice cream by Ben and Jerry's is Willie Nelson's peach cobbler, and it was actually pretty good. So I'm gonna rank cobbler,
Wait, you never had an
cookie cake,
actual cobbler?
ice cream cake, then pie, then cake. That's my ranking. Officially. Official
From one Willie D. Nelson.
Officially official. Yep.
Officially official.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for it, Willie. Thank you for sharing your cake preferences with the internet. I mean, they're wrong, but thank you for sharing.
Well, that's the beauty about this question, that it's always going to be wrong because no one's ever really right.
I am.
Aren't you just full of your fucking self, ain't you?
Wow, Willie dropped an F-bomb too. I did, Willie did. We were the first ones to curse this week.
Now who's the sailor, son of a bitch?
Me, dumbass.
Well, I have
Always me.
I have a button
a
for that
joke.
too, but I'm not pushing the buttons anymore. If you guys want to know what button that is, you can go back to an earlier episode where Naki sang Anthony the Sailor Man. We'll make a ringtone if you guys request it express.
I want to say, don't ask
Explicitly
the listeners
requested.
to do work.
I don't ask anyone to do work. Let's be honest here.
You ask us to work.
What kind of work have I asked you to do?
I don't know, to make sure we know what the hell we're talking about during our news of the week.
Live from the ATGN studios on the internet, it's the news of the week.
Hey everyone, it's that part of the show where we act like we know what we're talking about. It's the news of the week on the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. This is where we share with you guys who are watching live or listening at a later date some of the interesting geeky news we've heard out there. We give our opinions on it. Sometimes they're right. Sometimes they're as wrong as Willie's cake opinion. That's right.
I've never been wrong.
What?
When have I been wrong?
You've apologized to Naki for being wrong on this show before. I probably have a
About
sound
a
clip
news
of
of
it.
the week?
Oh, I don't know.
What was that famous bit of news that where she got messed up with April Fools?
Ryan Reynolds is Batman.
Yeah.
That was
Ryan
classic.
Batman.
And the best thing is it was like July. She started reading it. And
Yep.
everyone just let her go for a second and start Googling. And then you could gradually see Anthony and I kind of look at each other and just kind of smile because we realized that she bit on an April Fool's joke. And then I think she eventually got it too, and we were trying very hard not to laugh.
While she was reading it, yeah, because I think while she was reading it, she kept looking at the article, and she looked at the date on the article, and it was published on April 1st.
It was as she got to the end of the article, and she saw us kind of starting to snicker out, hey, Naki, when was that published?
Yeah.
And then you got the April, oh, shit.
No, God damn it.
It was pretty great.
But can we give me props for that amazing segue I just did?
It was a pretty decent segue, Willie. I'm going to let you be in charge of transitioning us into the news for the next couple episodes. How do you like that? Responsibility.
Let's see if I remember. Oh, I don't ever ask anyone of your work. What's up?
That is not what Chris sounds like.
You don't want to do it?
I don't mind. I don't mind doing it. What do you think I don't mind talking?
That's a fair point. Since you don't mind talking, why don't you kick us off with your news then?
Oh. Well, I got news over here. I guess I gotta read stuff then. I got stuff pulled up here. So this might be older news, but this is new news to me. That so they're making a Borderlands movie, and I was surprised to see that because I was like, Jesus, they're just doing it now. All right, but not only that, they already have casting news of Cate Blanchett signing on to play a role, and that role is of Lilith from the first game and the second game, and I have not played the third game, so I don't know what the fuck she's there. I think the pre-sequel, I haven't played enough of that to remember anything about that.
I think she's supposed to be in the third game, and when they did that final expansion for Borderlands 2, it was like the prequel to Borderlands 3, she was in that, and made it seem like she would be leaving the planet with them. So I'm assuming she's in the game. I haven't played the third one yet either.
I'm not saying yet because I don't think I'm ever going back to it. Looter shooters, I can't anymore. It's just the same.
I get it. That's fair. And part of the fun of that is playing with a group of people that are friends of yours, not just randomly jumping in. And a lot of the fun I had with Borderlands 1 and 2 was playing the game with Naki.
That's more than fair.
Yeah, a couple months ago we started the pre-sequel because I never played it. I was playing it with Your Only God. We went through like the first couple of hours of the pre-sequel because neither one of us, we both had it and never played it. It was a lot more fun, actually running through a looter shooter like that with a friend.
And then I also saw some news about Henry Cavill still in discussion to return to play Superman.
Supposedly it's a done deal.
Yeah, supposedly, I mean, we don't know things.
That's why he showed up on Zack Snyder's live stream for the Man of Steel rewatch, was they'd done the deal.
See, and then you got the bad with the good.
Man of Steel's a good movie.
Well, bringing Henry Cavill back as Superman is a good thing. Henry Cavill is a good Superman when Superman is done correctly.
Yes.
Justice League is a flawed movie, but Joss Whedon understands Superman better than Zack Snyder.
You cannot blame Henry Cavill for the writing.
Correct.
No. The Superman that he was forced to portray is not his fault. But
Still
the look and the acting that he did were fantastic. Especially after seeing, what was it, Immortals? Where he was just basically a buff, like, Perseus type hero going after gods. Like, with a bad director, he can do some okay work. With a good director, he can do great work. Henry Cavill's a great actor, and his portrayal of Superman wasn't bad. The movie portrayed Superman wrong, but he didn't write it.
Still a good movie.
That's a very subjective opinion right there.
So, thank you.
I'll give you good.
And let's not ignore that his portrayal of Geralt of
Rivia.
Yeah, there we go.
We toss a coin to him. Well, supposedly what Cavill's deal is going to be with DC, from what I had read, is not necessarily to come in and do more Superman movies, to do like a Man of Steel sequel or a Batman v Superman sequel. It's more to be like, how do I put this best? The Samuel Jackson of the DCU, who is popping in and out of all of the other DC movies and playing a part in them. So sort of what they teased at the end of Shazam when it was someone else in the Superman suit. Yeah. In this case, it would be Henry Cavill as Superman is going to show up in these other movies.
When they flat out showed his management, we don't really need Henry to be here. Like, kiss our ass, we're not paying you that.
Well, he didn't have a contract either at that point in time.
Yeah, apparently what his management asked for him to do that one cameo was ungodly.
Well, he was probably filming The Witcher, and where were they? Poland, where they were filming that. So that's a bit of a trip.
on the other
Just,
side of the planet.
Come back, and he was in. Let's be honest. Here's the thing: Henry Cavill's more ripped as Geralt of Rivia than he was as Kal-El.
Which actually makes sense because
Yeah.
Superman doesn't need to be super ripped.
True.
Yeah, too many people don't understand the fact that Superman doesn't need to have giant muscle mass.
But it doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt. And Henry Cavill is sure as intimidating as hell, as jacked as he is. But
That he is.
yeah, it'll be interesting. I think.
Did you watch Mission Impossible? The man reloaded his arms in a
Right.
fist fight. Like, dear God. He is intimidating.
I really.
Hey. They're cocked and they're ready to blow. Whose face is going to go all over?
I will say I did not particularly care for the Superman movies, not because of Henry Cavill, but I think he's a really talented actor, and everything I've seen him in, I think he has never been the weak link. In fact, I think he's been one of the better parts of everything. And he is fantastic as Geralt in The Witcher, because he's acting through face and grunts a lot of the time, and you still understand what is going on. It's interesting. Yeah, and that's my favorite. It's just the Geralt. Fuck. It's fantastic. So it makes sense if you're Time Warner and you're doing this Zack Snyder cut, which we haven't talked about, which I guess this is where we could fit it in, and you're wanting to get people more interested in DC movies when you're competing against the juggernaut that is the MCU. Bring back a character and an actor that most people like. There's nobody out there I can think of in regards to the DC movies. It's like, oh, Henry Cavill sucks. He's the worst part of this. In fact, most people go, man, Henry Cavill's really good, even though I don't particularly like the way the character has been written. I don't think
because there was nothing wrong in his performance of Superman. Just the stuff that they had him do in the script that was un-Superman-like. But yeah, that's the writing. It's the writing and directing. Nothing that he did was wrong with the character.
So Liberty Dudes in the chat room points out they need the muscular cut lines to get the ladies into the theaters. It's not just the ladies. I'm sure there's plenty of dudes who are like, holy shit.
True. I gotta give you that one because I mean, I love Christopher Reeves, but I don't know how many women were thronging into the theater to go see his Superman films. Because I mean, he was just a big guy, but he wasn't like buff. But then again, they have that one scene someone put up on Twitter again a little bit ago where he's about to tell Lois, and you see his fucking Clark Kent take his glasses off, and then all of a sudden he gets 4 inches taller. That's the best acting scene in any superhero movie in the past 60 years. And it's literally just the way that Christopher Reeves changed his posture from one character to the other. You could see him actually transform from Clark Kent into Superman by literally taking his glasses off and changing his posture. That scene tells you everything you need to know about how to play Superman.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
It's amazing.
And Brandon Routh got to do some similar stuff. I think in Superman Returns there was something like that too. But
a little bit. And once again, another actor where nothing that he did in that movie was wrong. And honestly, in some of those scenes, you close your eyes and it could be Christopher Reeves you're listening to.
That was a terrible Superman movie.
It was a great ode to the first two movies. It wasn't a great movie, but
a good movie.
Making Superman some dude that abandoned his kid. Like that was just
Man of Steel is better than Superman Returns.
Oh, that's a hard fight. I don't want to even pick a side in that fight. How about
that's tough.
Superman 4 is better than both? Where Superman fights someone made out of solar radiation and somehow that hurts him.
With toxic nails?
The source of his power somehow hurts him. It don't fucking make any sense.
So
what was that one? The Quest for Peace?
Quest for Peace,
Yeah. So you gotta love it. He took all the nukes on the planet and tossed them into the sun. Now that's a Superman thing to do. I like that.
While we're talking about Superman and got to talk about Henry Cavill's new deal, this is probably where we need to talk about the Snyder Cut announcement because we didn't have a chance the past couple weeks.
Do we have to?
I mean, I don't.
Yeah. We're a nerd news show. How can we not talk about the Snyder Cut?
Everyone's going to have their hot take. I'm pretty sure that my opinion's pretty well known on this one. That is, I don't think Zack Snyder understands Superman, so I don't really have great expectations for what he's going to do in that. Although I'm really curious to see black-suited Superman. They got teased and things like that. That's more of a callback to the comics. I just... they're going to spend what 30 to 40 million, I think it was, in post production, so that they can go and make this an HBO Max exclusive, so that when it goes on HBO Max, I can't watch it in 4K HDR with Dolby Atmos sound because they still don't support it. That'll be great.
I'm just not going to watch it because it's going to be on HBO Max, the dumbest streaming service available.
Well, I got it for free, so I'm not super concerned about it. I think it's interesting.
I want to steal it from Chris, so I'll see it.
There you go.
There you go.
I have my concerns about the precedent that it starts to establish right now, which is people bitched and moaned for 3 years. We want the Snyder Cut. Release the Snyder Cut. And they weren't exactly nice or polite. They were internet trolls about it. And now the trolls got rewarded. And here's the kicker. I don't think it's going to be as good as they've built it up to be in their head, because that's just human nature. We build these things up. We're like, oh, this is going to be so great. And it doesn't meet that expectation because it's hard to match those expectations. So,
yeah, because we've already seen, like, on Twitter, there's release the Ayer cut, release the this cut,
the
release
JJ cut.
Yeah, release the JJ cut, release
the most important one, release the butthole cut.
Yeah, for cats.
The butthole
That's
cut
important.
Cat.
Very important.
Very. But
I stare at those anuses.
I just kind of worry what the precedent is they're establishing there. And they made a point of trying to be like, oh, this is a one-off. We're only doing it because of this. And really, it's so they can try and sell the HBO Max service. I honestly think that's what it is. And that's fine. Do what you want. It's your property. But
and it should also honestly be mentioned that it is a one-off because Ayer directed his Suicide Squad. And I can't think of her name, but she directed her Birds of Prey. And then they released a theatrical version. Maybe those directors want to do a director's cut. But none of those directors were pulled from the film during main production because of a death in their family. So, as much as I hate to say it, Snyder's the only one who should be allowed to go back and finish making his version of his movie because he didn't get to.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, for those that aren't aware, his daughter killed herself. Like, he had a suicide in his family. It's not like he chose to leave work. It's not like Warner Brothers kicked him off the set. It's not like Edgar Rice said, you know what, I don't like the way Ant-Man's going with Marvel, so I'm out of here, and Peyton Reed stepped in. Edgar Wright doesn't get to come back in and say, no, I want to make my version. That would be bullshit. Zack Snyder had a death in his family and could not fucking face a crazy-ass film production in the middle of everything that his family was dealing with. So if he wants to come back, I'm all for that. I just don't think he fucking understands Superman. But hey, yeah, if there's any director that deserves to come back and have another shot at a project, this is the one. I just wish they'd fucking read him some Mark Waid comics or something so he'd get a fucking clue what Superman's about and get rid of this goddamn garbage-suited autistic fucking Flash that's apparently never used his powers to save anybody before. Because, dear God, Justice League was an awful fucking film.
Ezra Miller might have lost his job as it is right now. They haven't really been saying
Ezra Miller's
anything.
out there choke slamming audience members. Like, what in the fuck?
There's been no comments from Time Warner, DC, or anything like that about what's going to happen in regards to that. But he may very well have lost his job in that regard.
I have a feeling we probably won't see him again. And let's talk about a movie that we're not going to see. How about the Flash film that's gone through 13 directors?
You're right.
Oh, Flashpoint.
It has been said that they're going to do Flashpoint as the first. Really? The fucking screwing up of the origin story is what you're going to do for your origin story? No one shoots themselves in the foot like DC films.
That might be so they can explain why Batfleck's not a thing anymore. in all honesty, if you think about it, Flashpoint is a way you can restructure things. Or Crisis, for instance, because that's how they restructured the DC shows.
The one upside of that would be getting, if they actually use the actors from... Is it Batman vs. Superman where they show his parents be shot?
Yes.
Yeah. If you actually use the actors from Batman 5 Superman, where it's fucking two members of The Walking Dead playing Martha and Thomas Wayne, and you get motherfucking the comedian, goddamn Negan, to play motherfucking Thomas Wayne in a bat suit with pistols, shutting that shit down. Like, that would be fucking awesome.
I would like just one Batman movie where I am not have to go through and live the experience of his parents dying yet again. I get it. Your parents are dead. So are Superman's. You don't see him bitching about it all the goddamn time.
Yeah, you do. Every fucking movie.
You don't see him like, I'm all deep in emo now because of it.
Look, one of the
Really?
smartest.
Did you not
I'm
watch Man of
Superman.
Steel? Did you not watch Deep Emo Man of Steel?
Look, one of the best things they did with Marvel was when they brought Spidey into the MCU. They didn't do the origin story and be like, Uncle Ben is dead. No, they referenced it and moved on.
They also avoided the catchphrase, and that part pissed me off. And we don't know who it was that was lucky enough to be banging Marissa Tomei, the hottest Aunt May in history.
That's fair. But going back a sec
Back
to
and be the new Doc Ock.
to the Justice League Snyder Cut. Here's the fanboy argument I'm going to make and ask you guys is, well, gee, guys, which one's canon now? Which one's canon? Is it Joss Whedon's or is it Zack Snyder's? Oh, geez.
If you've noticed in the DC EU or whatever the fuck they're calling it this week, it doesn't matter. Nothing's canon because they just fucking keep fucking shit up. They already have at least 2 Jokers and somehow a Harley Quinn that crosses films, but the Jokers don't. Like, they have no fuck. Everything is an Elseworlds. Every fucking DC movie is an Elseworlds. There is no
fix
canon.
it all with Flashpoint.
I mean, that's possible. I mean,
I guarantee you they will not.
I was only trolling about 50% though when I asked that. But the real question you get to is continuity wise, what do you expect?
DC films do not believe in continuity.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume the Snyder Cut isn't canon just because it's not what was the cinematic release that other things came after. This is a retelling of what was already out there, which was supposed to set up Darkseid and stuff like that. And I guess Zack Snyder posted a concept art of Darkseid, and I went, looks like Thanos, and then laughed because they do look like each other. It just is the nature of the beast. And there's going to be some people who are not really huge fans looking at it big. The hell's Thanos doing in here?
Which is really sad because if I remember correctly, Marvel copied Darkseid when they made
they did. I'm pretty sure Marvel copied Darkseid to make that happen.
I believe Jack Kirby had that on lockdown first. So yeah, DC's got cred there, but they weren't the first to screen, so nobody fucking knows that. And let's be honest, building up 22 movies of continuity, of world building storytelling, and then leading up to a single fight that lasted basically 2 films to fight the ultimate bad guy in the universe. That's great storytelling. Starting off from the jump with putting Darkseid in the first Justice League movie, piss poor decision making. If that's what ends up happening. It
was reactionary decision making. We talked about it. We don't need to rehash, but what it came down to is Marvel took years to establish the Avengers, and DC looked at and went, oh, we want to do the same thing, and tried to cram it all into a much smaller time frame, is what it seems like. Yeah. And we can debate at a later date, and we've probably debated a previous date on here as whether that was smart or not. But that's why we got so much stuff jammed into one movie, for lack of a better term, between Batman v Superman and Justice League.
Also, let's that was not my Steppenwolf. That was not my Steppenwolf. The Steppenwolf I know sings Magic Carpet Ride and Born to Be Wild. So that Steppenwolf can go fuck off.
The really sad thing is apparently there's rumors now that we may not get an Ava DuVernay New Gods movie because of changes to the Justice League and what they're going to do with the Snyder Cut and blah, blah, blah. Like, we may not get an awesome version of the New Gods because of changes they're doing to the DC movies now, which that would just be sad.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a whole lot that needs to be figured out there. And let's be honest, they're not in any state to know either because the movie industry is on pause right now, just like the TV industry because of COVID-19 and stuff like that. All they're really doing is either pre or post-production work. Anything that requires being on set, stuff like that, it's not happening right now.
Speaking of the this being affecting the TV shows and whatnot, that brings me into my last bit of video game movie news. Or I guess movie, TV show. Let's just go with that. I've read through the article. The interview only mentions it a little bit, but Chernobyl's HBO's Chernobyl's Johan Rennick. I hope I pronounced that correctly, and I think I did. He is to direct and executive produce The Last of Us for HBO. So that's going to be interesting. Because I cannot wait to see that.
Did they have any dates preliminarily assigned to when that's supposed to be coming on there?
with this virus going on, you think they're going to say any dates?
That's fair. I know there had been talk of the Last of Us show for a while prior to this announcement, so I didn't know.
Hell, we're fucking living it right now.
Yeah, well, you're not wrong. That's going to be interesting. It's a good, smart buy by HBO because there's a lot of people that love that game. There's a lot of buzz. As Last of Us 2 is coming out in a few weeks, is it now? Or
the 19th, I want to say.
Okay, so we're 12 days away?
Yeah.
As we record this?
If that's what you want to say.
Or you can just go online and see what happened because evidently the whole game's leaked. Don't actually do that, people. Experience it for yourself.
I've been staying in the dark on purpose. I haven't seen anything new about it. I haven't watched anything. Just going into it as blind as it could be as of, a while back.
That's fair. So, thank you for all of that news, Willie. I'll go next with mine because it's peripherally related. We were talking about being very confused by DC Comics properties. I continue to be confused with what their plan is going forward with Batwoman. So I don't know if we'd had a chance to talk about it on this show or not. But Ruby Rose is stepping away from the role of Kate Kane, who is the title character in Batwoman, who they set up in a crossover, last year's crossover, who played a fundamental part in this year's crossover, and who was supposed to be playing a big role in next year's crossover when they crossed over the new Superman show.
Basically half of it for the new crossover.
So
they're supposed to be world's finest.
There were a lot of questions. People were going, okay, what are they going to do? Are they just going to recast Kate Kane, put someone else in the role? There were a bunch of actresses who'd come out and said they were interested in it, specifically Stephanie Beatriz, who you all know as Rosa from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, had expressed a lot of interest in it. And I think she said something to the effect of, hey, perfect timing, I just dyed my hair red or something like that.
Can I do it?
You don't meet their requirements because they wanted to
I can wear a wig.
They wanted to cast someone who is a lesbian or bisexual, I believe, in the role.
I mean, if I gotta take a shot in the ass for this job, I'll do it. Fuck it.
So,
my morals are very loose.
Well, I'm not going to touch that one right there. Let's continue on.
Anything to do with your morals.
Let's continue with this story. And it had started kind of leaking out that DC/CW/ the showrunners of Batwoman may not be looking to recast the role of Kate Kane, but instead introducing someone new. There was a casting call that got leaked out that identified a new character by the name of Ryan Wilder, which was assumed to be a placeholder name to conceal an identity from the comics. But the description of the character left comic book fans struggling to figure out who she could be. Wilder was described as a former drug runner who would steal milk for an alley cat, but could also kill you with her bare hands. Apparently an out lesbian, an atypical American hero, and nothing like Kate Kane. So we heard
You just described me. You just described me, man.
No, he
did
didn't.
we?
Not even a little.
A whole lot you described me.
Well, let's continue on. Batwoman showrunner Carolyn Dries has spoken out about the controversial decisions she's making at the virtual ATX Television Festival. She said she was ignoring Rose's departure and focusing entirely on a new Batwoman. She said, quote, I'm inventing a whole new character. In her past, she was inspired by Batwoman. She's going to take on the mantle and is completely, maybe not the right person at the time to be doing it. That's what makes it fun. End quote. She did also say that Greg Berlanti helped her make the call to create a new character as well.
Well, one of the weird things is that whole show is based on the idea that Bruce Wayne disappeared 5 years ago. And so Kate Kane showed up and took on the mantle of Batwoman. So, they built up and based an entire show on that, and now Batwoman's going to disappear, and someone else is just going to waltz into the Batcave and take over the role. Me.
Well, Willie,
anybody but Willie.
Willie Drassens explained why you wouldn't be good for it. He said, Willie, you do not have a good body hair removal regimen. I mean, you would put the suit on and it would stick out the mask.
Yeah, and?
Yeah, that's not good.
That's not really good.
Why is that not good? Hey, it works for the Red Guardian was David Harbour's character in Black Widow.
I don't think it's officially been confirmed what that character is.
Oh, look at him. He has his beard out of his mask. What's wrong with that? It looks awesome.
I guess there is that. So you could, Willie Nelson's going to go out for this role, but it just seems strange to me. This is an entire show whose mythos is built around Kate Kane.
If you liked it, you should have put a wig on it.
Uncovering the mystery of what happened to Bruce, trying to save Gotham, things like that. But this is equivalent to being like the end of season 1 of Arrow. We decide, Stephen Amell is walking away, so we're going to completely add in a new character who's the Green Arrow. who we've
Yeah.
never seen before. Or
Wait, Stephen Amell left in the first season?
he did not. Now, in theory, you could have
He
potentially
didn't.
done something
He's
like
saying
that.
this is what it would
Yeah,
be
this
like.
would be analogous to that.
Oh.
Now, you could get away with it something like The Flash because there's multiple versions of The Flash. So in theory, you could have had it that Grant Gustin left and you could do Kid Flash theoretically, which could have been interesting. But this is tough, and I don't know that it's a great sign for the future of the show because it's all centered around one character who's not there now.
Yeah. Well, it'll now be centered around two characters that aren't there. Because
Right.
it's going to be a show that's missing Batman and missing Batwoman. And it's going to have a new Batwoman. Like, that's so weird. But honestly, from what I've heard, apparently Ruby Rose wasn't having fun. It's a fucking tough-ass thing to be the lead of a show where, like, Stephen Amell worked his ass off for 8 years. Whether or not you think actors work, if you're number one in the call sheet on a superhero show and you're in every fucking scene and you're also supposed to be basically superhero fit, like, you're working out 5 days a week and you're spending, 80 to 100 hours a week on a film set waiting to be camera ready at all times. Like, there's some fucking grind to that. And like, it takes a toll. Like, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. And from what I've heard, a lot of people are saying that Ruby Rose wasn't happy doing that job because she had basically done a couple of film roles and had been, basically a guest star on Orange is the New Black and had never really had to deal with this type of schedule. Like, and it probably kicked her ass. Like, it's not an easy thing to do to be the number one in the call sheet, basically your first big TV show. Like, it's tough.
Hey, those salmon ladders aren't going to complete themselves.
That's right.
I mean, that's true.
Hey, and look who can do it. Willie D. Nelson who can do it. So come on.
I want to see you do a salmon ladder routine.
I got $100 right now says you can't.
I can do a
click on
TV scene salmon ladder.
Yeah, you mean you can have a stuntman do it from behind?
You goddamn right.
But
That's
yeah,
how Willie likes it, people, when the stuntman does it from behind.
Goddamn right.
oh my.
Uh-huh.
So Draftsman's got a theory of something they could do. He brings up in the chat room. He goes, I think all Bat family members should start to disappear, and then we would see Supergirl look for Batwoman and find another human being take up the mantle and look for her too. Then it would be revealed that it was Hush, Ra's al Ghul, and Bane teamed up and would all come to a head in a multiverse crossover or something like that. I mean, that'll be the interesting thing is how do they write out her exit without her presumably being back on set? Maybe they're going to make some kind of deal, which is, hey, we need you to come back for the first episode to do a handover. I don't know.
Yeah, I would assume she'd be willing to do that because technically, let's be honest, they're letting her out of her contract. Like, I'm pretty sure she's under contract for at least 3 seasons.
I would assume.
There's no way they signed her to a 1-season deal with the crossover as big as it was. So yeah, you got to figure she had a 3 to 5 season deal, and if they're letting her out of her contract, doing stuff like coming back and doing like 3 or 4 episodes worth of, side plot, handover, exposition bullshit, just scenes where she's talking to somebody to explain how it's all going to work, and they might use that film or that footage for 4 or 5 episodes in the new season. But yeah, you got to figure she's got to be willing to do that because, I mean, they're letting her out of her contract, but at the same time, I don't think she really wants to take on the Warner Brother lawyers.
I think it
wouldn't be
depends
fun.
on what deal was made already. If that wasn't part of the original deal, it could be
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm already out. And it also depends on how acrimonious the split is.
Yeah.
If
'Cause,
it's-
who knows? Maybe she had something in her contract that said that after a year, if it's too fucking tough, I can walk.
Yeah. I don't know.
I got the answer.
It'll be
You
interesting.
never know.
I have the answer.
What's
The
the answer,
Flashpoint
Willie?
movie will fix all. Just remember that. It will fix everything. All this actually looks different. Flashpoint.
That's what we thought about Flashpoint when it happened in the TV series, too. It didn't really. The whole half episode it lasted.
Well, that's why the movie can do magic.
Well, I guess there is that. Well, you guys heard it here first. Go on Twitter and tell them you want @SouthPorky to be the new Batwoman. I'm sure they're going to put a lot of thought into casting Willie Nelson to be.
That's
a
how
woman.
progressive they're going to do. They're going to hire a male for a female role.
Oh, so you're Scarlett Johansson.
I'm a little confused.
There's a running gag that based off of the movies that Scarlett Johansson likes to do. They like to whitewash a lot of characters so that it can be Scarlett Johansson. It was a joke more than anything.
I get it.
Yeah.
Whitewashing instead of male washing.
Yeah.
And don't forget to wash your male parts. They get stinky.
Everybody should be washing their parts.
On that note, let's toss things over to Anthony.
No one likes dick cheese.
What has he got for us? Please just keep going so Willie stops.
I will try.
Oh, you can't stop this.
Right.
I'll keep talking over it.
Jesus. It's a little late because, this actually was going to be my news of the week last week. But, it's still going to happen. So, well, hopefully. Cobra Kai is closing in on a new home where they'll be going to a streaming service because YouTube has decided they can't make money off of original shows. So, YouTube is changing everything from, SVOD to AVOD model and away from original scripted programming to double down on their unscripted fare. As the Deadline article says, indeed, every YouTube scripted original to air since has been canceled except for Cobra Kai and Lisa On Demand since 2018. And so they've got basically 2 shows right now, and they're in talks as it stands to release Cobra Kai out into the world to let one of the streaming services pick it up and move on with it. If you have not seen the first 2 seasons of Cobra Kai on YouTube, it is fucking fantastic. I believe the pilot is still available for free on YouTube Red. The rest of it's still behind a paywall, I think. I actually watched it. They had a week where the whole show was available for free on YouTube. Watch the whole thing. It's goddamn good writing. It's one of those things where both the actors that play LaRusso and Johnny were, approached multiple times over decades about continuing the story, coming back, showing where they are now. What are they doing? And when the guys actually brought this version of the show to them, it was the first time that both actors were interested because it was just really well written. And one of the best things about the show that they show very well in the first season is they go a really long way to show you that basically neither Johnny Lawrence or Danny LaRusso are heroes or villains. They're just people that have good and bad days. And seeing them grow up into adults and how their lives change and what they're facing now, it's so cool. And then the fact that basically Johnny Lawrence's character is still stuck in 1986. And so, he still drives the same car from Karate Kid 2. It's awesome. And it's a really good show, and it's one of those things where they decided basically doing original programming behind a paywall on YouTube is just not working out. It's not what people are going to that channel for, and so YouTube's going to keep being YouTube, but they're not going to keep producing shows. So they put Cobra Kai up and basically made it available. So I guess they're in talks with all the streaming services. So hopefully it will land at either Netflix, Hulu, anywhere. Hopefully with HBO Max. But hopefully someone's going to buy it and pick it up because, God damn it, I want to see season 3.
So you're saying it's going to end up on Peacock now is what you're telling me.
I will watch it on Peacock. I'm fine with that. But, it gets to the point where basically Daniel LaRusso, in response to Johnny, opens up his own dojo. So the Cobra Kai comes back, and the kids that Johnny Lawrence starts teaching are the ones that are the kids that he used to pick on. These are the kids that are the outcasts at their school. So he starts off literally with the best of intentions. He's teaching the kids that are being bullied at the high school. And then those kids end up getting in confrontations with Daniel LaRusso students. And it's perfect because you keep seeing them swapping roles. And then of course, the real upside of course is that Johnny Lawrence's sensei comes back. And he still plays that bastard just as well as he did back in the movies. He's so good. Yeah, it's a fantastic show. Everybody should be watching it. I hope they get some more.
I'm sure someone's going to pick it up because of the numbers it's had. And it's what a lot of people were talking about as the successful YouTube original programming, stuff like that. It's just a matter of who is it and what service do you find it on. And that's the problem we start to run into anymore is, I don't know.
Yeah, there's so many streaming services. I know because I've been spending most of this week watching one of them that I won't have once my free trial runs out. But we'll talk about that in a minute.
Oh, I see what you did there.
I know.
I lost my train of thought. We started talking about Funko Pops in the chat room and I got distracted.
That's true. There is kind of a new Karate Kid because there is kind of a main student in the show. who becomes basically the version of what Daniel LaRusso was in the original movie. He's a kid that's having a tough time. He's getting bullied at school, and he turns to martial arts to like kind of stand up for himself and make his world better. And the awesome part about that is that this kid goes to Johnny Lawrence to learn how to fight. And so you get the kid that would have been the Daniel LaRusso of the world, the kid that's being bullied and picked on, and he turns to Johnny for help, which is not what you would expect. But when you watch the show, it totally makes sense. It's honestly, it's really, really well written. And yeah, they do some parts. Ralph Macchio made sure that one of the things that they held true to was they do a lot in the show to honor Mr. Miyagi's presence as a character and Pat Morita's work as building the world out of the Karate Kid. And so there's lots of references to him, and they do a really good job of like showing. I mean, whether Daniel LaRusso is a good or a bad guy on any given day, like his teacher was a great man, and so they do a really good job showing that in the show too, which is awesome because it's the one guy that can't come back. Martin Cole's there. Can't think of fucking the guy that plays Johnny Lawrence, the 1980s bad boy. But yeah, he's there, and fucking Ralph Macchio's there, but the one person they can't get back is Pat Morita. So they do a real good job of honoring him, so it's awesome.
It's cool. It's been on my list of things to watch at some point in time that I just haven't gotten to because there's too
Whatever
much.
happened to those dead celebrity holograms things that were going to happen? Whatever happened to that?
Shh, don't bring him back.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy.
What happened to Ghost Tupac?
I mean, remember how creepy Grand Moff Tarkin was in Rogue One?
He wasn't creepy. He was almost perfect.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Like plastic skin fake Princess Leia was creepy.
Which one? In Rise of Skywalker or Rogue One?
No, Rogue One.
Yeah.
The Rogue One was Uncanny Valley shit. Like Rise of Skywalker was just, we can see it was kind of footage and he kind of shoved it in there, all right, whatever. But no, Grand Moff Tarkin looked good, but it's because you can do the wrinkles in CGI. You can do skin that's aged. They tried to do a de-aged Carrie Fisher, and it just looked like a fucking creepy robot. That's the only thing I don't like about Rogue One is that shot of her face. It looks so weird.
He's not wrong. You look like you're thinking about something, Willie. What do you got?
You don't want to know what I'm thinking.
That's fair.
We also don't want to know what he's got.
That's true. That's true.
What I got, you got to give it to your mama.
Oh God.
On that
you
note,
can also give it to your father too.
on that note, looking at the time, we do need to start wrapping things up. Before we shut down the stream, we have one last little segment for you guys. One we do each week. It's a bit called What I'm Into. It's our chance to share with you guys who are watching live or listening at a later date just what kind of geeky and or nerdy things we've been getting into, so that maybe, just maybe, you'd go want to check them out yourselves. Anthony, why don't you start us off? I was about to say Willie, but I decided that was a bad idea.
It's whatever.
Maybe.
I think Willie's going to go first.
Willie is going to go first, I guess.
Let me reach for the mic again. Let me just reach for the mic. I already put it down in preparation. I was going to give due diligence, but no, I got to go now. I got to go.
Due diligence.
Due diligence.
That has nothing to do with due diligence.
Due diligence.
Those words do not mean what you think they mean.
Gattaca.
Gattaca!
Gattaca! Scrub Squad!
So what I've been getting into, let's just start. Let's start this off strong. Let's start off real strong. I watched and was a bit disappointed by John Wick 3.
No.
It did not live up to the first two.
But the dog lives, man. Oh, wait, no. What? Why am I even arguing that? The argument's over. John Wick 3 has Halle Berry in it. You are wrong.
I was not as impressed with the third movie. I'm sorry.
It's fair. I mean, is it because you thought they're trying to do too much world building to do other movies and spin-offs, or...
They're doing spin-offs?
Yeah, there's going to be a TV show on Starz called The Continental. It's all about the hotel.
I don't want to see that at all.
Yeah, but it's going to have, oh God, I just forgot the actor, Ian McShane in the lead role, and I'll listen to Ian McShane do anything.
True. Woden. I listened to Woden read the fucking newspaper. Like, he's good.
There's something that
I'm
Ian
good on
McShane, the way his voice works, that when he calls someone a cocksucker, it just sounds hilarious too. That's a Deadwood reference, but
That's one
Fair
I
enough.
still haven't gone back and watched. That one's on my list.
Is My Kiss on your list?
No,
Oh.
it's not.
That's sad. I just wasn't as entertained by as the other ones, and
That's
I don't
fair.
know what it was. Just I get I get the point, and it's just I got it. It's just reiterating that point over and over again, which is John Wick's going to kill a lot of people in a very stylized way with weapons, and I guess that's it. What else have I getting into? Let's see. I did get a couple new games. One game that came out the week before last, which is an amazing game, highly recommended. Golf with Your Friends. It's a little $20 game that's just putt-putt in a fun way. Party mode's always fun. And I have a lot of fun with that. It's putt-putt. Fucking love putt-putt. Who doesn't love putt-putt? Do you like putt-putt? What's wrong with you? Why don't you like putt-putt?
I like putt-putt just fine.
This is the best part about Myrtle Beach is the putt-putts.
It's true.
They have a lot of good putt-putts. And I got some Worms. I think I have Worms Battleground and Worms WMD. I think that's what it's called. They came in a dual pack, and if you don't know the Worms franchise, pretty much at least two teams of Worms use different weapons to take out the other team on a 2D platforming kind of background. They take turns to use their weapons, and it switches from worm to worm. And they look like little chubby penises, not going to lie. But the same team that made the Worms games made the Golf with Your Friends, Team 17. And there's even a Worms mini golf level.
That's cool.
That's all. What else have I been getting into? I don't remember if I mentioned this last couple times, but I did beat Final Fantasy VII. I don't remember if I mentioned that. Interested to see where the story goes with this because it seems like it's changing it. I've seen some theories about what this change up in the story is and what it means. Now, I'm not going to spoil any of that, but it seems interesting. And plus, the game's been out for almost 2 months now. What's your deal? If you're gonna play it.
That's fair.
The game that's a remake of a game from 40 years ago has been out for 2 months.
There's changes to the story. I will say that. And this is also just the first disc of the original game.
Yeah,
Well,
they're
so
gonna have
you
a
didn't get-
crap load.
You didn't get to the part where you had to farm chickens yet?
No, actually, you don't do that. That's not. If they do that later on, I don't know. In the next installment, couldn't tell you.
Maybe this one would actually be worth playing then.
Still wondering why this isn't called Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1.
Because then people would know it's split up like that.
But in every little news bit, that's all they ever say is like, this is not going to be the entirety of Final Fantasy VII from 1997. It's just weird.
Hopefully it
Oh,
doesn't take as many years as it took to get disc 1 as it does to get the rest. So you can play disc 2 on the PlayStation 6 or something like that.
Well, I mean, look at the differences between Kingdom Hearts 2 to Kingdom Hearts 3. You had the whole PS3 in between it.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And it actually came out at the end of the life cycle of this generation.
Yeah.
Although it did come, Kingdom Hearts 2 did come out at the end of the PlayStation 2. Blah, words. What else have I been getting into? Man, I've been watching this one dude on YouTube, Omwrecker. That's how I got into Worms. Seeing him play, he's like, I want to play some Worms. And you see a lot of YouTubers play that Golf with Your Friends, but now it's just now available for consoles. So, yeah, that's why I got it. And I've always wanted to play it. A little fun mode in golf with your friends is party mode, where you can get little power-ups to do different things to your ball or to the opponent's balls, like the randomizer power-up, where you can turn everyone else's ball into something else, like a cube or a cylinder or a
Interesting.
hockey puck, or the best one, or the best two, an egg or an acorn. You know how impossible it is to shoot an acorn straight?
Probably hard. You're playing this on
And
what,
that's-
Switch?
No, PS4.
Okay. Because I think it's
If
on
I have
that
a-
too.
Yeah, if I have, I think it's so too. If there's an option to have, better graphics at the same price, yeah, let's do that.
That's fair. I was just curious which console you were going with on.
And the online on it is really fun. The first night I played online, this dude was really drunk, and it was just hilarious. Just a bullshit around this putt-putt arena with this dude and this other group of other people. I was just busting out laughing. I couldn't even.
Well, isn't that the only way you're legally allowed to play putt-putt anyways, is if you're drunk?
No.
I'm not.
I don't think you can play putt-putt sober. Pretty sure it's against the law.
I don't really drink, and I like putt-putt.
You can take the fun out of everything.
I just don't, because I don't drink.
Yes.
I just don't have a taste for it.
That means you haven't found the right drink yet.
I mean, I like some drinks. I just don't like dealing with hangovers.
He likes cheer wine. He's just going to drink cheer wine.
Cheer wine, which is in no way related to wine or alcohol,
Right.
which is weird.
But goes well with vodka.
How do you know that?
Because you can put fucking vodka in anything. That's one of the best
Fair.
parts about vodka.
That's fair. Actually, it would probably be a little bit. It would be like adding some grenadine to it.
There you go.
So there you go. The grenadine and vodka tastes like cheer wine and vodka.
Well, that's some
Look
exciting
more-
stuff.
A lot more bubbly
A little more sugar.
and bubbles. Until I interrupt you again with something I forgot, go ahead.
All right, so I'll go next.
I remember. I'm just kidding.
I figured that would be the case. So I've been working on putting together a Plex server in my house. So I've been legally ripping DVDs that I own to put on my Plex server, just because it's been interesting to play around with, mess with. So they got me.
Is that legal?
It is legal for your own things as long as you own them and you retain the copies.
Just curious.
You are legally allowed to make digital archive copies of your own and put them on your own Plex server. That is legal. So some of the stuff I'd gotten around doing, some of my older Kevin Smith films, I never upgraded to Blu-rays. So I rewatched Clerks 2 because I love that movie, and I still love that
Hell
movie.
yeah.
It's still just a ton of fun for me. It's one of my favorite Kevin Smith movies because I think it might be his best as a filmmaker.
And two of the best dance sequences ever caught on film.
Yeah, they're pretty fun dance sequences. And then I also watched, just because all this Snyder Cut nonsense was going on, I watched the Batman v Superman extended cut that was 3 hours long.
Oh, God. Why?
Well, I'd never actually watched Batman v Superman all the way through, so I figured I should probably do it at some point in time. It was okay.
Are you talking about the director's cut?
Yeah, the 3 hour long extended cut, or whatever it is.
I watched it too. Remember? And I'm still pissed off because it didn't solve the one plot hole.
I feel like it falls
The
apart.
one-
What's that, Willie?
I mention this every time. The one plot hole. Why does Lois Lane go get the kryptonite spear
one.
in the water?
The
It makes-
one plot.
I-
Oh, yeah.
'Cause that's the one that sticks out my head the most, and I cannot wrap myself around it. Like, there's no way she knows that Zod is this creature that's attacking. She doesn't know it's Kryptonian. Why does she go for that kryptonite spear thinking
Yeah.
that's going to help?
Because plot.
I mean, it does, but it makes no sense of why she has no knowledge of what this thing is.
Yeah.
Only because it was in the script.
Look, the visuals are pretty cool. I think it all falls apart, even the visuals and stuff at the very end, because it just becomes a CGI mess with fire effects and things like that. Ben Affleck, I think, I enjoy his Batman. I'd be lying if I said otherwise. I enjoy Henry Cavill as Superman. I did not enjoy the manufactured conflict to make it happen, and watching that movie again reminded me that Zack Snyder doesn't get Superman.
Well, the manufactured conflict makes sense. The fact that neither character was smart enough to figure it out the moment it started was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Literally, all fucking Superman would have to do is fly over to where Bruce was and say, hey, That dude kidnapped my mom. You want to help me go find her?
I mean, this is a movie.
Like, that's it. That's the whole fucking thing.
The movie's years old, but there's always.
But then how would you get Martha?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Well, you shouldn't have had it. That's how you get it. You fucking avoid it because it was dumb as shit.
So there's there's one thing when it comes to Superman that always kind of sticks in the back of my head. It's from the Justice League cartoon. What? Go ahead, Willie.
Oh, no. I was just reiterating your one thing.
Okay, thank you. So when it comes to Superman, there's a clip from, I think it's the finale of Justice League Unlimited, where it's Superman and Darkseid going toe-to-toe in the middle of Metropolis. And he has a quote, and I'm going to have to paraphrase because I don't remember the whole quote, but that he effectively lives in a world of cardboard. And he always has to hold back. He goes, but I don't have to hold back with you because you can take it. And he unleashes on him. And this is a Superman that we get that doesn't really hold back. Like, he's friggin' throwing Batman around when he just wants to go and have a conversation with him. Batman confronts him. It's like he just pushes him and flings him across through a wall. And I'm like, Superman doesn't escalate like that. He's not putting people through walls. That's not the character. Nope. He's always holding back to use the right level so that he doesn't hurt someone because...
excuse me. I saw Batman v Superman and he was putting motherfuckers through walls and floors left and right trying to say,
we're telling you that Snyder doesn't get Superman right, you can't use other Snyder's versions of Superman as evidence.
I'm talking about Batman.
Yeah, I was talking about Superman.
No, he's talking about Superman is a character who lives in a world of cardboard. Everybody around him is paper thin. He has spent his entire life restraining himself, holding back, doing everything he can to not hurt people, not kill his parents when he gives them a hug. Because if he were to squeeze hard enough, he would fucking liquefy them because they're humans.
Parents are dead.
His mom's still alive.
His Earth parents.
I'm not talking about his Earth parents. His parents are dead.
So
he could hug the Kryptonians because if he went to their planet, they fucking wouldn't. He wouldn't have superpowers.
But he can't because they're dead.
So why I rewatched that or finished watching is because of the Snyder Cut announcement, and it just left me going, man. Say what you want about Justice League, it's a flawed movie also, but Joss Whedon understands the character of Superman. I don't think Zack Snyder does. So we're going to go back to grim, dark, brooding Superman all the time, it looks like. And that's just a bummer because I really enjoyed Henry Cavill on screen, seemingly having fun as the big blue Boy Scout who was having fun on screen. Superman looked like he was having fun when they brought him back into the Justice League things, interacting with the rest of the team, getting in a foot race with Barry Allen, stuff like that. Those were fun elements. And I don't know, I was just kind of hoping that we'd get more of that. Other stuff I've been getting into, I think I have one episode left on the Disney Gallery, The Mandalorian, which is their behind the scenes where they talk about how they film things. It's actually fascinating when they get into the special effects they used to basically create their own holodeck. Fascinating, super cool. And then the practical effects, of course, are also super interesting. So if you've always wanted to understand potentially how they did the things they did on set, totally worth watching. I mean, each episode's about 30 to 40 minutes, and it's just a blast. And then new video game I picked up because I was playing too much Animal Crossing, so I had to cut back. I bought a Japanese RPG. I believe you've already played this one and beaten it, Willie. Dragon Quest XI S Definitive Edition. I am playing that right now on my Switch. I think I'm 14 hours in right now.
Oh, child.
I know. Child. I got a lot left to do, but
got a ways to go.
I still haven't gone back to it to finish it, but I'm already over 100 hours into it, and I don't know where the end is. I have no idea. I thought it was going to end 20 hours ago, but it's still going.
That's what I've heard about that game, and I've really enjoyed it. And considering I'd already put almost 200 hours in Animal Crossing, it was time to take a break for a little bit.
If you want a good old classical turn-based RPG, there you go.
Yeah, and it even goes back to the old school 2D style if you do things in there right.
You on your version for the Switch, you can actually go into 16-bit mode, can't you? At any point in time.
Well, you have to be at a church or a statue and then select it. So you basically have to be at a save point.
Fair enough. I would like to see how they turned all the the open world and the towns. How they did that with that.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I think. Yeah, I haven't messed with it too much. You can do it. I haven't tried it yet, but I will soon enough.
I do have a question. Are you keeping your characters in that little circle where you can move around and it doesn't matter, or do you just put them so they're flat 2D across from each other?
Huh?
The default is where you stand in like this little circle area, and you can move your character around, and
Yeah.
when it's your turn, you can do your attacks or whatever. But you can change that.
Yeah, I move them around in that circle, but most of the time I just leave them the default arrangement when a battle starts because it doesn't seem like moving around did
It
anything.
doesn't do any. It
Yeah.
does nothing.
It's-
There's no point to it. You could change that in the settings where it just keeps you both, like everyone in like a 2D plane, like your team's on one side,
Okay.
the enemy team. Yeah, I prefer that anyway. Cause
See,
like
at first,
this is dumb.
At first,
can't
I was
dodge
thinking it was like the Tales games, like Tales of Symphonia, which is one of my favorite games. Like, it actually makes sense to get behind a character because you can do more damage. It doesn't really do that in this one. I don't know. But I've really been enjoying it. It was on sale, I think, for $40, and I went, okay, for $40, this is good. I can play this on my Switch. And why I went with the Switch versus my PS4 is because it means I can sit on the couch and play when we've got something dumb on TV that I only need to pay like 5% attention to, so I can play video games instead. That was my reasoning.
If you only have to pay 5% attention to it, why is it even on the TV?
Because I didn't pick to watch it. I don't always control the remote, Willie.
And this was why I'm not married.
I'm sure there's myriad of other
That's
reasons why you're not
that's
married
why?
too.
That's the one reason.
Well,
That's
that
why?
goes into the larger reason of I love my alone time.
There's
If
nothing
I didn't
wrong
have
with
my alone time, I'd go fucking crazy like I was.
Look, I get it. I'm just saying, there's certain shows on TV that can be deemed trash television that people are terrible on it, and I can pay like very minimal amount of attention while my wife wants to watch it and play video games. And this is a good fit for that. Although I grind way too much in JRPGs, I've determined. I grind way too much.
This one is not that bad. It's fun to do it anyway if you want to. Like it's fun to do
So you
once
don't
you
really
figure
need to grind in it?
well, I mean, it is a classical turn-based JRPG. You tell me.
Yeah, I generally between each of the main missions, I end up spending like 2 to 3 hours in the wilderness grinding and trying to get equipment and stuff like that. So I'm not lacking for money, at least.
Oh yeah, there you are.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's one part in the story you're nowhere near it. I don't think. Or you might be near it. It's hilarious.
So
it's when you go back to that first main castle town. When you go back to
yeah.
it, you talk to one person on the side, and I forget what he's talking about. I have a screenshot. It was like, they're gonna nip me veg. I was laughing.
I haven't gotten there. For reference, where I am, I just got the jester character, or whatever, just joined my party officially. So we're going to go to get his boat, Sylvando or whatever. I think.
Oh
is his
yeah,
name.
then you're past that part. Then yeah, you're past it. When you
Okay.
go, you talk to one random person on the side of the under like the side right outside the main wall. of the
Oh, I
castle.
know where you mean.
Yeah. You just talk to somebody like they're gonna nip me veg. Like who's gonna nip your veg? What are we talking about? We talking about dick here?
So that's a really fun game. I think it's available on PS4 and Switch. I don't think it came to Xbox. And it might be on PC. I'm not 100% sure. So if you like Square old school RPGs, give it a try. You'll have fun with it. But that's what I've been getting into. Bachman, wrap things up for us. What you been getting into?
I actually haven't been playing much Apex or Dead by Daylight just because honestly I haven't been wanting to sit and play PlayStation for some odd reason. The upside to that is Raid Shadow Legends is really addicting. So I've been playing that fucking thing because they put it on PC and I can play that on PC because it's mind-numbing and easy to do while watching a streaming service on my PC because I got did the free week trial of Showtime. And so this week I watched 5.5 seasons of Billions because
Supposed to be a good show.
it's fucking awesome. And then once I got all caught up on that show, I didn't realize they had Homeland, which I had never watched, which amazingly enough, in the second episode, Melissa Benoist is topless. So it was worth watching it just for that because naked Supergirl, like that woman's gorgeous. Oh yeah. Willie's thinking about it, rolling one eyeball. But no, yeah, watch the first.
The other's on his
4
phone as he Googles it right
Yeah.
now.
Watched the first 4 episodes of Homeland, I think, on the Showtime streaming service. Weirdly enough, I couldn't get it to play on my PlayStation, so I've been sitting in the office. So yeah, I've been watching Showtime on one screen and playing Raid Shadow Legends on the other. And yeah, apparently I just really love Damian Lewis as an actor because he's the lead on both shows. And so yeah, he's great in Raid Shadow Legend, or he's great in Billions. And then yeah, he's great on fucking Homeland, where he's he was a Marine sergeant who was kidnapped and tortured for 8 years, and he comes back, and the whole show is based around the idea that he might have been turned, and so that he might actually be an anti-American terrorist now that's here to attack America in the guise of being like a hero Marine. And so that's a great show. And then, Billions, where he plays Robert Axelrod. He's Bobby Billions versus Paul Giamatti, who through 5 seasons goes through like 4 different jobs. And basically every job he has, he's going after Bobby Billions. But like that show is just insane, but also really well done. Like the writing on it, it's awesome. But then this stuff like you have these characters throwing just money at all these problems in weird different ways. And then like the effects that it has on their lives. It's really cool, but there's some really good stuff on Billions. It's worth watching. Like, and I mean, Paul Giamatti screaming at people. You can't go wrong with that. Like, that's always good. But yeah, basically, other than that, and then a couple of mail calls. I got a nice new actual comb and brush for my beard from thebeardstruggle.com, which I'm enjoying. I actually found that if I actually take a brush down the side of my face now, I have enough hair on my face I can brush it, which is a new thing that's never happened, and it's really kind of nice. So yeah, that's been kind of cool. And then I don't have any kids in my house, but the number of children is growing. The pre-orders have started to arrive, so I have the child because Willie knows I need more Funko Pops.
Because that's a villain.
Really, you're not ever gonna give up on that fucking joke?
No,
I
I'm gonna have
stopped
a brand new
collecting
joke.
just villains 4 fucking years ago. Jesus Christ, dude. Yeah. Other than that, and I started reading a new Stephen King book, and now I can't think of what the fuck it's called. It's about a guy who has a weird, it's like a weird weight loss thing is happening to him, where every day no, it's not thinner, but that's the thing. It's a type of concept like that. Every day it's called
even
elevation.
more thinner.
Every day he's losing weight. Well, so when he gets on a scale, he weighs less. But it also doesn't matter if he's holding anything or like has a coat on with like, he literally shows his doctor, like he steps on the scale, he's 210 pounds. He steps on the scale, puts on a coat, puts like 20 pounds of quarters in his pocket, steps on the scale and still weighs the same amount. And like him and his doctor are trying to figure out how the fuck it could be that basically like gravity has stopped affecting him. And so, yeah, it's a really weird, well, it's like a really short story. It's only 146 pages. But I'm like halfway into that. That's really good. It's very strange.
Interesting.
To read even more thinner.
It's not thinner.
Thinner.
That was a good movie. But that's what I've been getting into.
Well, on that note, then, I think we're about to shut this thing down. But before we do, a friendly reminder that every Sunday we stream this show live at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over at geeks.live. That is the official streaming home of the Gonna Geek Network. And yes, .live is an actual URL ending, so it does work in that regard. We'll be back next Sunday streaming this, of course. And there is a bunch of other live content you can catch over at geeks.live. If you're there right now, scroll down to the bottom of the page. You'll see a calendar of all of our upcoming live events. I do believe the next live show is Monday at 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time. It is the official GonnaGeek.com show. So please feel free to drop on in and come join in our geeky shenanigans. But before we shut down this stream, Willie, Anthony, you guys got anything, final thoughts you wanted to share with the crowd?
So when am I going to see my share of the new sponsor we have?
We have a sponsor?
Yeah, because apparently now we're being sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. I've been waiting on that joke. Yeah, because every YouTuber gets to have it, so how can we lose our sponsorship?
It's fucking Ragtag's fault, man. He put that on his fucking stream, and I was like, oh, what the hell? I'll give Ragtag the click. I'll go play a couple of rounds of it, and use his link. Because he's a YouTuber. I love his stuff. Like, show some support for the people who give me enjoyment, because his YouTube's fucking funny.
Yeah, I showed you his YouTube.
Yeah, and fucking started playing that fucking thing, and goddamn, I've put like 100 hours into that fucking game. It's ridiculous.
I will say my favorite line
I got
he's
the
ever
legendary
done.
this week. It's fucking great.
The legendary Shadow Legend?
Yeah, I got one of the legendaries that is part of the anniversary event that's happening right now. I got Prince Kaimar, and he's a fucking beast.
So my favorite line that Ragtag has ever done is when he was doing his toxic coaching, I think it was, for Overwatch a couple years ago. And he was talking about a Pharah main. And apparently they were shooting really well because his line of, he could shoot a penis off a pug a mile away made me laugh so hard.
That's a pretty great line, actually.
Especially with a character that fires missiles.
But yeah, the real question is, when are we getting some of that sweet YouTube money, Anthony?
I don't know.
Where's our
Hey,
sponsorship
you probably
deal?
got the sponsor.
I'll keep checking my email.
All right.
Giving all free sponsorships and all that. I mean, not like I do with Dreams.
Rage.
Willie would never do that when he talks about his Diet Mountain Dew that he loves to drink each week or something like that.
Or Camel Menthols. That's my brand of choice. Remember, pop the ball.
I thought he was all about Parmars. Or
I'm
Parma.
sorry, what was
Parma. I don't know what it actually is. I don't smoke.
All right. So I used to work at a grocery store. And yes, I would say, people would say, give me a pack of them Pall Malls. I'm looking at it, and it's not spelled that way because it's Pallmall. Like Pall Malls. Wouldn't it be like, or Pale Males? That's the weird thing. Pale Males. Like, I can understand pale, but I can't understand male from Mall.
You're asking me to understand something that I've never really purchased.
Or we did have that one weird older lady that came in always asking for her Two Bros snuff.
So, Willie, back in the day when I was in college, we would occasionally indulge in the occasional cigarette. It was Camel Turkish Royalty is what I smoked.
Oh, God.
So me and some friends were hanging out overnight, and we were just chilling. And then when the morning came, so the pre-story with this is my friend, she accidentally got the wrong pack of cigarettes. She got the Turkish blend of Camel. You're like, damn it, I got fooled. Those dirty Turks, they fooled me. And so then when the next morning came in, those birds were chirping, and that's when I'm like, oh God, it's sunlight. That's not good. It's one of those nights. We got like, you're hearing the bird chirp, like, shh, we can hear those dirty Turks out there. Those dirty Turks won't let us sleep.
Oh, jeez. On that note, we are about to shut things down. Last chance for final thoughts other than about Turks.
And we're of course talking about the Turks in Final Fantasy VII Remake, or the original Final Fantasy VII. The Turks.
Of course.
You got Reno, the bald dude. I can't remember his name. Maybe he was Reno. I can't remember. Hit that button.
I'd already hit it before you said it. I just wanted to let you play off. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you all next week for more ridiculousness, and thank you for joining us. Bye, guys.
And Raid Shadow Legends.
Thanks for listening to this brand new episode of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. Don't forget, we'll be back next Sunday live at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over at live.atgnpodcast.com, channel 3 of the Alpha Geek Radio app, and over at our network home at GonnaGeek.com/live. If you have any feedback for the show, please contact us atgnpodcast@GonnaGeek.com, on our hotline number at 304-806-ATGN, or even better, go to Twitter and send us a message at ATGN Podcast. The music you've heard in this show is produced by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at Incompetech.com.